Okay. All right, welcome. So we are about to start the next activity. We are going to be doing our marine infographic project. So throughout this unit, we've been learning about various marine ecosystems and specifically focusing on how humans directly can impact those ecosystems, both positively and negatively. So this assignment is your opportunity to create an infographic showing what you've learned, not just in the classroom, but how our actions can affect our ecosystems outside of the classroom. And the goal is when we create these infographics that we can actually share them and post them around the school. And so other students who may not be in marine biology can learn a little bit about how they can help protect our marine ecosystems. So for starters, we are going to be using canva.com. So you are going to need to have your Chromebook. I see that we've pretty much all got our Chromebooks out. Love that we remembered them. So that's great that every single person brought their personal Chromebook that they've been issued and did not forget it. Quick reminders, I know it's not fun, but I always like to say I will be using GoGuardian while we are doing this assignment. So GoGuardian just helps me to make sure that you guys are staying on task. We're not doing anything we're not supposed to be doing, going on sites that might not be safe, but we are responsibly using our computers. And I know that's something we've talked about throughout the course of this year of the importance of being safe with our computers. So for our infographic, you are going to actually have a choice. You're going to get to choose one of the three ecosystems that you and your group talked about. So we looked at polar oceans and climate change, the pelagic zone, we also talked about that as the open ocean, and overfishing, and coral reefs and coral bleaching. So hopefully you and your tables had some good discussions about those. You're going to get to pick just one for your personal project. When you include your infographic, you want to make sure, just like you saw on that graphic organizer that we previously did, I'll pull it back up again in case you forget. We completed that graphic organizer looking at the different ecosystems and the different threats. So you want to make sure that that information is all presented in one way or another on your infographic. So the threat to the ecosystem, one risk, specific species. So if we were talking about coral reefs and there was a specific type of coral you talked about, you focused on overfishing and the impacts of tuna industry. So what is that one species you talked about, and clearly describe their risk. Clearly explaining and describing the human causes, right? That's the big thing we want to understand is what are we doing that's impacting these ecosystems? Identifying the consequences if we don't change our actions, if we keep doing what we're doing, and what are three possible actions that could help prevent these consequences from happening? We do have some examples hyperlinked in. If you're a type of person, you're a visual learner, this doesn't make sense, and you're like, I've got to see it to understand, please feel free to look through some of those examples. Remember, we are not using other examples and trying to claim them as our own. That is a type of plagiarism. So we want to always be careful whether it's a project or an essay, we're not plagiarizing and just copying somebody else's work. When you're using Canva, again, we've used this in the past, but just to briefly overview, we are looking at the infographics. If you press the three buttons for more, it should be the first thing that pops up, or you can search it. And just like we've done in the past, you have a couple choices for your infographic. So if you're somebody who's super artistic and you just want to start from a blank page, by all means, go for it. I've seen some students just create some of the most amazing things from scratch. And so you can start pulling those different elements just like you would on a Google slide or a PowerPoint. And so you can see here, you might be doing something on coral bleaching and you look for some icons that have to do with coral. You start pulling those, changing the background, adding text, just like you would again with the Google Slides. If you are someone who feels like, hey, I'm not artistic, this is all brand new to me, I struggle with technology, I struggle just turning on the computer, y'all, I get that. If you feel that that's the place, you can look at the templates that they have. And the templates don't even necessarily have to relate to your specific ecosystem because you're going to go in and change the text. So I put in blue watercolor. I want something with like a watery, oceany background. And I can pick any one that interests me. Okay, so this one how to protect our oceans, 5 ways to help. Well, that's not my topic, so I'm going to go in and type in these text boxes and change it to put my own words, again, so that I'm not plagiarizing, but I'm making it my own. So I could change it to coral bleaching. And then I can go in and I can change the pictures to be my own, change the words to be my own. So the only thing I'm using is that template and that layout. Please make sure, like you saw on your graphic organizer, that you are citing your sources. So you had to have a minimum of 3 sources. Please make sure that you are pasting those sources on your infographic as well, so you are giving credit where credit is due. Again, making sure we're not plagiarizing. Are there any questions? Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and get started, and while you guys are working, I will walk around, and that way, if you need more help